Hi, everybody. Hopefully this is working. Hang on a sec. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear me? This isn't live, so that's not going to work. But anyway, I wanted to look at the world news today and some of the things that people are asking about. Now, I talked about some of these things on the lives with Jean-Claude this week, both of them, Monday and Wednesday. I think we talked about the flag. So the Trump rally on the 17th in the 17th state had a really interesting flag where the actual stars were blacked out, which is like really weird, rare, and it looked really strange. And a lot of people were wondering. Also, the stripes seemed to have gold and silver either around them, or there was even like a faint gold colored stripe in there. And they say some thin lines of silver. Now, the closer you look at the flag, the more you can see that. But from a distance, you can't really see it. So we looked at that, and I want to look at it again because so many people are curious. Now, people did write, like people that are in the Army, in the Navy, in the various different, militaries. They wrote in and said they were taught, like various different people wrote in, you see it on Telegram and etc., that they were taught that what a flag like that means is that there's no quarter for the enemy, basically. And I'm saying it in my words, and that the enemy needs to surrender by the end of the rally. They would have needed to surrender, or it's full out war on those energies. So it basically is announcing that that white hat war is real, and they're coming for those guys. I mean, they've been coming for them. I think they've been now working on this for a really long time, as you know. I think that. So I believe that signal was something to do with that. Okay, but we're going to look into it, and we're also going to look at, was that also signaling a gold back system, a metal back system? Was it signaling gold and silver? Something to do with the money system too? Because that's interesting. Okay, so we're going to look at that. Then we're going to look at who was wearing the Kamala mask. So I don't think it was a video, a photograph circulated where Camilla, so supposedly the Queen consort, so Prince Charles's wife, okay, was wearing a rubber mask, basically. Like, so it wasn't really her there, right? Because you saw this line right here on the neck, just below the neck, actually, on the collarbone. So you could see the line, and it was very obvious. Now, we've seen those masks. We've been shown that they can make incredible masks. They can make incredible look-alike masks. So first of all, who was wearing that? Because that was obviously a mask. Who was wearing it? Some people are saying it might have been Princess Diana, signaling that she's actually the queen. All kinds of rumors about who could have been wearing it. I'm going to see was that just an actress, and we don't, is it somebody we need to know about? So we're going to look around who was wearing that mask, and were more people in that funeral procession. And I got that the funeral could have been, some of it was even filmed a couple of years ago, but that would have been the more intimate shots coming into the church, etc. Okay, so we're going to look at that, and then we're going to do the Russia war signaling. Okay, so Russia looks like it's all gearing up to, there's even rumors out there that Putin is looking for soldiers even outside of Russia. We talked about this on Wednesday nights live with Jean-Claude. That was on a pay-per-view. So if you want to go view that, that was pretty interesting. But I'm going to look at it too here on the channel. So we're going to look at, does Russia really want war? What's really going on with that signaling around, threats to war? Because there's all kinds of rumors that Russia is actually friendly with the Ukraine leader, so that Putin and the Ukraine leader are actually friends. So I put out a video, or I didn't put it out, I shared it. And it was from Sarge. Remember Sarge? And I forget what his channel's called. But anyway, if you look on my Telegram, I put it on, I think I put it on Facebook, Telegram, and Twitter. But it's Sarge. And he used to be on with Linda Paris, but maybe he had a falling out with Linda Paris. As I feel, she tossed me to the curb as soon as Blue Water started talking smack about me, which I found to be very unfortunate, because I used to share her stuff everywhere and I always yupped her up, and I really enjoyed her style. But we're just really finding out who's who here in this. But Sarge left her show quite a while ago, so that's interesting. Anyway, he's actually a military guy, and he has a lot of intelligence around how the military works. He also seems to have connections, inside connections, and he gives a lot of great intel. So we're going to look at that. But he's the one that brought up and said it just offhand, said that, won't people be surprised when they find out that Putin and that leader of Ukraine they're actually buddies, and it's probably, some kind of takedown that they're doing together. So a bit of a trap maybe for the Khazarian mafia players. But anyway, so we're going to look at that. Now, we're going to have a quick look at the rest of September. What can we expect? Like, so many people still talking about the 24th, so we got to touch base with that. Just keep on top of that, see if there's anything new comes up in the cards. Then we're going to look at North Americans' weather, and I'm sticking to North America this time, and I'll do the other side of the world, who's going, because we're going into winter. So we're fall, winter, North America, and Europe, but other parts of the world, obviously Australia and New Zealand and that part of the world, some Asian countries, they're going into spring, summer. So they're on the other side of the whole other side of it. So we're gonna start on this this news video. We're gonna look at North America weather, and if there's any like kind of read we can get, because I was on a show with Michael Jaco and Tom Numbers recently, and you might have seen it. It was, I shared it widely as well. So did a lot of other people. But that show, we got that the winter would be incredibly cold. Okay. And I gave some advice about how to handle that, being as I live in Calgary. So we're kind of used to it. Canadians are kind of used to it, but a lot of people might suffer from more cold than usual. And even into the States, places that don't usually get snow might get snow. I'm going to relook at that, make sure that we're on the right track there. Then we're going to look at other royal families. So apparently the Netherlands royals were seated in a really prominent spot at the funeral. And a lot of people thought maybe it was a signal that they're going to be next. So we're going to just look all around. What can we expect around other royal families? Because everything about that funeral was signaling. So like, we don't even have to ask, was that signaling? Yeah, it was signaling. But we're going to just ask, are all the other royal families going down? Or are some of them going to be spared? Like, what percentage? Are all across the board royals, people that call themselves royals or royal families, are they actually all rounded up? Have they even capitulated in the background? We're going to look at that. Okay, so let's start with that US flag. So the signaling, already there was a lot of Q signaling. The whole fact that the rally was on the 17th, so September 17th, in the 17th state. And Trump has actually been signaling Q a lot. Okay, very interesting. Apparently, he even made a Z sign, which I looked into on, I think it was Monday nights. I think it was Monday nights live, or it could have been Wednesday. I can't remember. But somebody asked about, did he make a Q signal with his hands, or was it a Z? And I got a Z, and I hadn't even noticed that at the rally. I watched some of the rally, not all of it. I hadn't noticed that, and I didn't really know what I was talking about. And people were saying, yeah, I got that right. It was a Z. And what I got around the Z, so all of these signals he was doing, he made this Z in the air. And I got around that it had something to do with child trafficking and crimes against humanity in particular around the trafficking of children and the abuses of children, adrenochrome creating and something like that, somehow signaled that they're, it could have even been a signal to the Khazarian mafia, or sort of a stage of where they're at with really cleaning that out. That's what I got anyway. So I'll just reiterate that for everybody. So the US flag, blacked out stars, silver and gold on the flag. We're going to start with the blacked out stars. What was that? Whoa, big heavy hitters here. Okay, so we've got the tower and we've got the devil right in the middle. So it was definitely a signal to the bad guys. So this was a signal to the enemy in the war. Okay. And basically on the two sides of this, it's very interesting. They've got temperance and the 8. So they figure they've got this really sewed up. The good guys, so the white hats in the alliance. So the signal was just in what kind of bad shape. So it's definitely about surrendering. So it's a signal to the Khazarian mafia, the cabal, the Illuminati, deep state. All of those things are interconnected, by the way, and sort of different aspects of the same thing. All of those words I just said. It's signaling that they've already got these guys. They've already taken them down. And it was more a signal to them that whatever little percentage of them is still left, they're going to be rounded up next. And I would agree with what those military people were saying. They've got to come out of the shadows and surrender. And likely by the end of that rally, I think that's what they were saying. And it looks like that's true. So they were giving them a message. They were giving them a message and a time frame. When to actually give up and surrender, come out of the shadows. Wowza. And after that, it's no quarter. So the stars blacked out. That's what that seems to mean. And that makes a lot of sense to what's going on. Now let's look at the gold and silver on the flag. Was there signaling there to gold and silver? As in actual gold and silver, was that signaling something about the money? We're expecting a crash in not only the market, well, it's been crashing, but we're expecting literally a bottoming out of what we used to call the Fed. And there you go. Yeah, it's also signaling that we're really close to a bottoming out of the money system. You bet with that. There's that card again. Interesting. Same cards, different areas. So similar things. Look at that. We've got 4 of the same cards. Okay, so imminent money crash here. Imminent. So it's signaling that they're going to crash the market. So everybody knows exactly where the financial, so all the cabal bankers are going to be bottomed out. I believe they already did this. I actually believe they already did this, but I feel like they're about to announce it. So it's talking about, so this is a universal timing card. I feel like they're just waiting to announce it, but the thing already happened. So the actual dollar is really worth nothing right now. And I believe they're going to reboot a new system. So it's a strategy to signal. So it's absolutely a signal with that ace, a strategy to signal, just basically the coming of, and/or in the background, that there is a new system and it is gold backed, maybe even silver backed as well. Like silver had something to do with it. So that's interesting. Wow. So those things are correct. about what Trump was signaling. Now, let's look at the Kamala mask. So I bet everybody saw that. It was totally trending. Kamala, a close-up on her face, and people are always like, how can they, they must still be alive. They're running around. They look just like the royals. It must be the royals. No, it easily could be masks, you guys. Okay, and they choose a body shape and put on one of those rubber masks. And if it's an indoors event, they could easily use CGI and just literally camera work to place a face over a face with the general sort of bone structure of the person they're trying to look like, right? These tricks have been shown to us in videos for quite a few years now. Okay, we've been seeing videos. We all saw the was it Tom Hanks video? No, well, we know Tom Hanks they've been doing that with Tom Hanks in all of those recent movies that he's supposedly in. That's not him. Okay, so they're using a combination of old footage, CGI, like trickery, and probably rubber mask stuff. Okay, yeah, you bet. But anyway, this Kamala mask was really well done. It looked just like that beat up face of hers. It really did. But you could see the mask line where it was literally a mask. So that's how good they are at these masks. So we're going to ask, who was wearing that? Is it anybody we should literally know about? Was it just an actor that, obviously we won't get names, but if it's a famous person who was wearing it, we'll pick up on it. Wow. So right away, the Kamala mask was absolutely a signal. So that's sending signals and clarifying something, things coming out of troubled water. So they're getting braver and braver at so they're literally showing the normies, slowly showing the normies what's been going on so they don't completely freak out. So they're not ripping off the Band-Aid like some of us wish they would. They're not doing that. They're doing it with programming. So they're going to be ready when actually the truth comes out. They can actually point back to some of these things and go, wow, this was going on all along. Right? This is what they're doing. And that's what these two cards indicate, right? So they're putting that out there subtly. It's kind of a subtle card. Okay. But it's to clarify something. And it's getting less subtle, by the way. That was pretty blatant, actually, seeing that. I mean, there's ways that you could cover that line up. She could have wore a different outfit that would have covered that, but they purposely did that, you guys. That was a purposeful signal to get the normies to understand what's going on. Now, this is interesting. Whoever was under the mask, well, it certainly wasn't real Camilla, because I get she's like on some kind of house arrest somewhere. So she's being kept hidden somewhere because of her connection, okay, to the deep state, the dark cult, and or Khazarian mafia, all those names we can call it. But the star, wow. The star. Okay, I don't think it's anybody of note, and it could have even been somebody other dimensional wearing that mask. So that's very interesting. Because can you imagine wearing a mask like that all day? I feel like we did see that there were off-planet and or other dimensionals in the funeral. I wonder if whoever was wearing that mask was one of them. And I wonder why they would have placed it on one of them. But anyway, it does look like it wasn't anybody per se famous that we would know. So I don't think it's Princess Diana, but it was absolutely somebody wearing a mask, you bet. Now let's ask, how many people, what kind of percentage, like was Harry, that person that was parading around as Harry, was Meghan wearing a mask? Like we know that Meghan and Harry, well, I figured out a long time ago that Harry actually became a white hat. He was definitely a dark hat. I don't believe that, just go back a little bit here. I don't believe that William and Harry are the actual original William and Harry for a really long time anyway. For all we know, they were whisked off about the time Princess Diana was supposedly taken out. Okay, so for all we know, the real children have grown up in some kind of witness protection or maybe even off planet for all we know. Okay, and been in hiding. And they replaced them with these two other William and Harry. Okay, and they've probably had several versions of William and Harry. I've definitely noticed quite a few versions of Harry and quite a few versions of William. So, you know, none of these guys are their original people. Okay, so just so you know my thinking on that. Okay, but let's look at, were they wearing masks? Were the rest of the royals wearing masks? Like Prince Andrew? Like he was rounded up for sure. All the senior royals were, but did they let him out just for the funeral? Did they film it a couple of years ago, the parts that had them in it? I don't know. Let's look around. Were they just all wearing masks? How many of them were wearing masks? That's what we're asking. Judgment. Wow. Wowza. Okay, I'm going to say the brothers were for sure, or the siblings. So the siblings, so various different siblings. So of course, there's a couple of different sibling groups. There's Princess Anne, and who's now supposedly King Charles. Okay, they're siblings. So I'm thinking the siblings. And then of course, there's Harry and William siblings. So they were also wearing masks. Maybe even and their wives with that card in the middle. So I'm thinking a whole swack of, I'm thinking you mainly saw those masks. If you look closely, you would have seen masks everywhere. You would have seen, they were also using some off-planet and or other dimensional higher technology than we know about. Other dimensional technology. They were also using technology, okay? Because these senior royals, they're either off planet, being held somewhere. I don't know if they're literally at Gitmo. I think they might hold them somewhere off planet by the looks of these cards. So wild. So a whole bunch of them were wearing masks. Maybe the whole senior royals bunch there, and even the lower royals. So it's looking like a lot of mask wearing going on there. Okay, now let's look at, does Russia really want war? Like all that signaling to war and threats, is that just look over here while all of this other stuff goes on? Right, because it came out of nowhere. It looked like things were winding down, and even the cards said there's been deals in the background between Russia and the Ukraine. It's been all divided up. It feels like what we're getting in the cards is the opposite of what Putin seems to be signaling right now. So he's ramping things up, but things look like they got really geared down even a month or two ago. I was even getting there, it was already over in the background. So, you know, what's really going on there in Russia with this whole war signaling? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Same card. Interesting. We're getting a lot of the same cards here, but I shuffled these cards, so they want to come. When you're talking about something that's all interrelated, you're going to get the same cards. That's just what happens. But look at this. We've got this 6. I think Putin and that fellow, his name starts with, I think, a Z or something, the Ukraine guy. I think they're absolutely in cahoots. Okay. And that came out on purpose. I feel like they might have even got Sarge. I think Sarge is a white hat plant. I think he's way more connected than he admits. And I think they got him to say that, or someone fed him the information on purpose to get the word out that they're buddies. So what's really going on is all to get people looking over there and fear. Like it's almost like they want some kind of, they want to get everybody scared of nuclear war for some reason. I don't know why they're doing that, but it seems like they've been planting all of these things, like the idea that 17 cities in the US are going to have some big event that is horrific or gut punching, or like there's all of these things, but they seem to be coming from the white hats. So it seems to me they need this heightened energy, especially on the part of the normies, okay, because they're going to put a point across with it, okay? So when everybody's in this heightened place of fearing something, whoops, sorry, that's my foot there. I think it'll allow them to do something else in the meantime. So it could make the EBS more palatable. It could make a shutdown, and it could make an excuse for military shutting down all these major cities all over the world. It could be when military steps out in front of all of these governments that are fraudulent. Like it feels like they're going to utilize that, and they want everybody geared up for something like that, even though nothing like that, by the way, actually happens. So the thing doesn't actually happen. I don't get we're going to have a nuclear war. I don't think Russia has any war coming, any more war. Like, yes, they're still engaged in various places in the Ukraine. I believe it's been largely exaggerated what's going on. And of course, we know they've been cleaning up deep state activities there. I got a feeling they're saying the exact opposite of what's actually happening. So I'm going to stick with that. Okay, hopefully that clears that up. So no, I don't get war coming from Russia, at least. I think it's all part of the movie, let's just say. Now, let's do the rest of September. What can we expect? So we got these dates coming up that everybody's talking about, the 24th, the 25th. These are huge excitement around supposedly like anything from solar flare to money crash, something involving the sun. But sometimes when I get that sun card, like I've gotten something involving the sun that actually is to the benefit of humanity, which could be a solar flare that benefits us, helps us remember who we are, empowers us. But I could also be talking about a money system, because the sun can be about abundance, and it can also be about gold. Okay, so a gold-backed system. I mean, there's so many things floating around. Let's see if we can get any more details from the universe around how to look at that. The date between like today and the 30th of September, because so many people talking about these dates. Even the 25th is talked about as some big date. There's also like the end of some calendar, something to do with the Jewish religion. The calendar ends. I can't remember what that's all about, but I've seen a few articles about that. So if somebody knows more about that, let me know in the comments. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of talk that some big calendar ends. And that's why the 24th or the 25th, it might even be the 25th of September, 2022 is so important, because it resets the whole world could get reset. You know, there's so many things going on there. Let's have a look what the universe wants to say. So the moon there, the moon passed on. So mysteries and shrouded things, fearful things, or things we feared. People passed on. We feared people were passed on. Okay, I was getting this on Wednesday nights live with Jean-Claude as well. It feels like people we thought were passed on. We might have more reveals on people that died but didn't really die. Okay, so that's interesting. So a shroud, some kind of information comes out about people faking their deaths, right? And that would be interesting, because we did have that happen right on cue. When interesting, that's called right on cue. Right when, like, I think I was looking into the week going forward. This was about a month ago, I think it was. And I got this again, that somebody would be revealed, somebody important. And it turned out it was John McPhee. Did I say his name right? McAfee. I never get that guy's name. Anyway, that guy. Okay. And I've been sharing all his, what he's been putting out on his Telegram. I've been sharing it because he's clearly alive. And then there was even a documentary that states, according to his girlfriend, that he faked his death. So more of that, some really interesting and unique. Also some kind of reveal, it looks like, about how unique our world is, how much more, like we know so little. So something really, because the Seven of Wands to me is a uniqueness gets revealed to me. That's just what it's feeling like when I look at it with this card. Something, people we thought died who didn't, also how the world really, I feel like some big reveals are coming out. Okay, that's one thing we can expect. And the reveals could even have something to do with, so we got that Justice card. Something comes out about the secret tribunals where we get some real meat on it, maybe, right, with that, or justice being served in the background. Because if these people do reveal themselves, definitely you're going to get more truth about what's really going on, because why did they have to fake their death? Okay, so they'd be ready to tell everything. If they do step out, the world has to be ready to hear everything, because they're going to have a lot of tales to tell, aren't they? They're going to have to explain to the normies, what the heck, right? So they're going to have to explain that. So I feel like that could bring a whole tsunami of truth. Okay, if that happens. Okay, so that's making sense to me. Now we've got that 6. So the outcome by the time we get to the 30th, well, I'm not really, there could be some discomfort around some of the things that go down between now and then. But for the most part, it's to everybody's advantage. You come out a victory. So I'm just saying, and this is just what I'm getting, I don't really get a big world disaster or an event that messes us up for months and months or anything like that. Maybe 5 days, maybe power gets shut off, maybe we lose something, like ability to do something, maybe money system, because that could be a money card with those pentacles. So you could see a crash in the market in that time. So there's a lot of things that could happen actually between now and the 30th of September. But the biggest thing the universe wants to say is some reveals here, it looks like, about who's really dead and who's really alive. So that's interesting. And that could open the gates to talk about secret tribunals and things to do with justice being done on the back channels, which sounds to me like reveal time after that. Okay, because it would make sense if these people step out of the shadows, or even some of them do, they're going to need to explain the situation, right? So wowza. Man, I'm looking forward to that. I hope that happens. I really do. Okay, now let's look at North American weather. So North American weather. What can we expect? What kind of fall and winter? So are we going to have unusual, really big event style, like huge tornadoes? Are we going to have, like, is everything going to be wonky, or is it going to be just really cold like I was getting with on Tom Number's show, or more snow than usual? We were getting that, which, does, like I said, Canadians are kind of used to that. Okay, yikes. Okay, so we got the Tower and the Ace. So we're definitely going to have some event type weather situations, you bet. Okay, oh boy. We can handle it though, guys. We've got the Strength card in the middle. So maybe more of things like volcanoes, tornadoes. It looks like a big season for things like that. So things are going to be kind of exaggerated and really intense. Wow. Okay, and it'll cause disruptions. And don't forget, that's a 5 though, everybody. It's not a major arcana. So the outcome is, it goes in line with shortages of things. It's hard to get around. Like if you get snow in Florida, I mean, that's going to be kind of weird, right? So it does look like there'll be some eventful type, but not world disaster or totally wiping out entire cities. I'm not getting that. I'm just getting a more intense, all of your seasonal things more intense. So your tornado season could be really intense. Your, the snow could be double what it usually is in Alberta or something like that, or Saskatchewan or Manitoba, or what I mean? There's definitely going to be some intensity around the weather, but it's going to cause disruptions, delays fives you could get over fives. So it's nothing we can't get over and nothing we can't get through, guys. Okay, so what I suggest is, if it's starting to look like that, and you look at your farmer's almanac for your area, which I highly recommend you do, okay, because they're pretty accurate. You want to look at that. And if it's looking like you're getting a lot more snow than usual, you might want to look into, just be practical. If you drive a vehicle, you might want to look at getting snow tires or even all season tires, because I know a lot of Americans don't do that, and or people that live, south of where I am. Okay, so it's a really important thing. It can make the whole difference. You can actually get around even in really deep snow if your vehicle has snow tires. Okay, snow tires even better than all seasons, but all seasons, if you can't get yourself snow tires, you know what I mean? And yeah, they would at least help, because if you're just using summer tires, you're going to be in big trouble in snow. Just trust me. Okay, and just get woolies, and if you can't afford new things like that, go to the thrift store. There's tons of woolies and if you need to like go more north to some northern town that you can actually get to, their thrift stores would have more warm woolies. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I bet you if you went to the Florida thrift stores, they're not exactly going to have warm woolies, or Texas thrift store. I mean, maybe, but I'm just imagining they probably don't. But every thrift store around here does, right? And every kind of store that you buy clothes, they definitely have. So share with your neighbors if you have excess woolies, because it looks like people are going to need it here. And yes, it does look like you're going to have some extreme weathers. Yeah, you bet. Nothing you can't handle though, and it'll disrupt things and make things difficult. But I have a feeling by the time spring comes, so much will have been revealed and so much better things coming for the world that it's all going to be worth going through the cold winter. And like somebody said, a really cold winter can kill unwanted bugs. Okay, so if we've got, an infestation of dark cultures, maybe they really can't stand that extreme weather. I thought that was a good one though, unwanted bugs, and literally unwanted bugs. So if there's a really bad bug situation, like somebody was saying something about the ticks. So ticks were demonically created or created by deep state. Okay, but they're everywhere in wooded areas of ticks, and they can cause Lyme's disease. Okay, maybe the cold will kill the ticks because they can't stand cold weather like that. Maybe there's a good reason for it. So try spinning it and have more fun with it, and maybe look up winter sports. If you've never had snow, maybe look forward to it. Maybe you'll actually get a white Christmas, right? Wouldn't that be fun? Everybody talks about it. It's idealistic to a lot of people. So myself, I'm darn sick of white Christmases, but I'll probably have one anyway if I'm sitting in Calgary. Okay, so let's look at the other royal families, in particular the Netherlands, seated right up front in the funeral. What kind of signaling was going on, and what do they got planned for other royals all around the world? Let's have a look. Okay, right away. Wow, we keep getting that star card. I wonder if the alliance, so the off-world sort of white hats and or other dimensional, because I'm not sure how the world works exactly, but anyway, other dimensional and or galactic slash, yeah, I don't know what to call them, but galactic helpers. I wonder if they have a lot to do with what's going to happen with royal families. I wonder if they're taking them off planet because a lot of them are demonically possessed, seems to me anyway. Okay, they might have to deal with them, other dimensional and or off planet, right? If we actually live on a ball that's a planet, which I'm not exactly sure about, right? So I think it's more complicated than that. But anyway, I'm thinking they have a lot to do with dealing with these guys, these royals. They're absolutely going to be rounded up, but they already were in the past. The year Donald Trump was first in power, so 2017, I think it was, maybe late in 2016, and then he really came into power like full on in the 2017. Somebody correct me in the chat about that. But anyway, that year that he went around and capitulated all these governments and royals, by the way, also other royal families were all capitulated. I think all of them are, and they've already capitulated in the background. And that's why all those mask wearers, wow, they must spend a lot of money on making those masks, and they're very believable too. It's fascinating. But anyway, yeah, they've already capitulated and all the royals are going down, you guys. Anybody that was known as a royal family was compromised, it looks like, and has been served some kind of justice, rounded up in some kind of way, been on house arrest, and maybe even held off planet, it looks like, and or other dimensionally, to deal with if they were demonically possessed or, because these families all in the background, they're satanic ritual abuse. They use that practice as far as I can tell. What I've looked at, they all do. They go to these hunting parties and they do these horrific things and think of us as, anybody that would walk around thinking of themselves as a royal has to have a mentality of dark cult. There's no other way to describe. I would never think I was so much better than other people that they had to bow to me. That's absurd. Nobody should be bowing to anybody. We should all have just mutual respect for each other until the person doesn't deserve the respect, because some people literally, take away any of your trust. But at first, just a mutual respect and then see where everybody sits, but nobody's above you or below you to start off with. Okay, that's just not how the world really works. Okay, we're going to find that out. And that's part of our lesson here. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video. And I almost want to say, do like, share, and subscribe, but don't share. Okay. So anybody out there putting this on Facebook, I don't agree. And I don't consent to that. So you're not good in my books. If you're calling yourself a fan of mine, I'm saying, get your ass off the website. I'm not impressed. That's just not cool. Not asking my permission and sharing it around. Okay. But I do really appreciate